Welcome back. I am very excited to share this with you guys. What I discuss in this lesson should pay for this course multiple times over. Let me explain how. If you have not been working out your break-even Acos properly, you could be wasting a lot of money on advertising. This lesson will explain not only how to do this properly, but also how to easily see your individual Acos, rather than using a generic break-even Acos across all of your campaigns. There is a huge misconception in the KDP space about what kind of Acos you should aim for. I've seen many YouTubers and people in Facebook groups say things like, if you stay below 30% Acos, you should be fine, or stay below 25% and you will be in profit. This couldn't be further from the truth. There isn't many people that show you how to work out your break-even Acos properly, which is hugely important for the longevity of your KDP business. Your business will have a hard time growing if you are making $200 in royalties per month, but are spending more than $200 on advertising costs. Another thing many don't take into account is the tax that you may pay on top of your advertising. For example, because I'm based in the UK, I must pay tax on top of my advertising, which is 20%. You can find the tax percentage on the advertising invoices Amazon sends you by email. It is also worth speaking to a tax professional local to you who can advise you of the tax that you should or shouldn't pay. Every country will have their own rules. So if you are paying tax on your advertising, this will change your break-even Acos too, and I will explain all of this when we use my Acos calculator. Okay, here is the Acos calculator that will be a total game changer for you. This will tell you exactly what your break-even Acos is. Let's take a bog standard logbook, which is normally 8.5 by 11 and has 109 pages. The list price for this book is $7.99 and the royalty is $1.95. Okay, so I'll put those figures into my calculator. Okay, $7.99 and $1.95 royalty. You can see that our break-even Acos is 24.41%. That is quite a bit lower than the 30% some YouTubers advise. Now, if like me, you pay 20% tax, and we consider that in our calculations, down here, you will see that my break-even Acos drops to 19.52%. This is not good if you have been happy with an Acos of 28%, for example, because you were led to believe that under 30% is ideal. Okay, and when you enter the figures into here, it doesn't matter which currency you use. Just make sure you're putting in the list price and the royalty for that specific marketplace. So that is an example for how most logbooks are priced. But what about if we look at a different type of book, such as a hardcover book? What do you think the break-even Acos would be for a hardcover book that has a black and white interior and has 109 pages? The list price is $15.99. and it pays a healthy royalty of $2.10. Do you think the break-even Acos would be 20%? 30%? I'll give you a few more seconds just to have a guess. Let's find out. So the list price was $15.99 and the royalty was $2.10. The break-even Acos for this hardcover book would be 13.13%. And if you pay 20% tax on top, then the break-even Acos would drop to 10.51. You can see now how generalizing a break-even Acos across multiple campaigns with different types of books would be a costly mistake. Next, let's see how much money we could be losing out on if we were assuming 25% was our break-even Acos for this book. So I will try to get the Acos to 25% by putting how much I have potentially spent on ads in order to sell one book. Okay, so in the ad spend box, if I put in 210, obviously that would be break even if we weren't taking tax into consideration. So I would spend 210 on ads in order to get one order that would pay me $2.10 royalty. Okay, so let's get this figure to 25% and see what the ad spend would be. If I spent £3 on ads, my Acos would be 18.76. There you go. If I spent £4 on ads, my Acos would be showing as 25%. So if we were looking at our advertising dashboard and we got one order for this hardcover book, and if we spent $4 on ads, our Acos would be showing as 25.02%. And some unknowing people would be happy with this outcome. But if we come down to this section here and we type in how many books were sold, I'll put 1 in there. You can see that we are out of pocket by $1.90. But this is just for one order. What happens if this was over a period of 1 month and we secured 20 orders and managed to keep our ACOS at 25%? I will put the number of copies sold as 20 in this box, and then I will also times $4 by 20, which will give us 80. That would give us the same ACOS of 25%. Ignore the ACOS for this example. The formulas here are based for one order, not multiple. So if we look down here, we can see that we have spent $80 on ads and sold 20 books, which would give us a loss of $38. Now, if you were unaware of this loss and kept up at this pace for a number of months, you could see how quick the losses would add up. The scary thing is, for this example, I haven't even included the tax that you may pay on top of this. Plus, some people spend way more than $80 a month on ads. And so this is why I said earlier that knowing this stuff will pay for the price of the course multiple times over by saving you from making costly advertising mistakes. With this calculator, you can also change the tax amounts and work out what you should be paying in order to achieve a break-even ACOS. So let's go back and use the logbook example because that's one of the most common types of books. So it was $7.99 and $1.95 royalty. You can see that the break-even ACOS is 24% if we didn't pay any tax. Obviously, if we didn't pay any tax, we would spend $1.95 on ads to make one sale, and then we would see our break-even ACOS. However, if we do pay tax, we can work out what we would need to pay roughly in order to break even. Let's assume that we had to pay 20% tax on our ads. So I will put 20 in the yellow box, and you can see that our ACOS has now jumped up to 29.29%. And that is because the 20% tax has been added on top. So what we can do is to play around with the ad spend number until we achieve a revised ACOS of around 24%, which is our actual break-even ACOS. So if I change this to $1.50 in order to get one sale, you will see that the revised ACOS is 22%. So let's make it a bit higher and a little higher still. Okay, so that's as close as we're going to get it. So the revised ACOS has changed to 24.3%, which is fairly close to our break-even ACOS. That would mean in order to get one sale and a royalty of $1.95, we could spend up to $1.62 in order to stay break-even. Okay, I hope that makes sense. You can see if we wasn't paying any tax on ads, we would have an ACOS of 20.28%. But if we are paying tax at 20%, you can see the ACOS has been revised to 24.33%. Now, you won't need to use these two boxes as much as the first two, but they are nice to have just in case you're interested in working out the figures. Now, on to the next part. You now know how to work out your break-even ACOS, but how will you remember all of the different break-even ACOSs across all the different books that you have? Well, the good news is I have some more suggestions for you. Obviously, you can find your book pricing details by clicking on any book in your bookshelf, clicking on the three dots, and clicking on Edit Book Pricing. There you can see all of your royalties and your list prices, etc. So what you can do once you have found out this information is you can come over to this spreadsheet, work out your break-even ACOS, and then add it to this yellow list on the right. You can add the book title or other details that will help you distinguish the book. Then you can pop in your break-even ACOS, including and excluding the tax. Okay, so let me just show you an example. Fishing logbook, blue. Break-even ACOS without tax would be 24.41%. And with tax, it would be 19.52%. Okay, so you can go through all of your books and add them to this list, and then you will have it all in one place. I would recommend that you get in the habit of doing this when you're uploading your books to Amazon. When you come to the pricing screen, just open up this spreadsheet and add your information here, and then it's done. Now, you will have a different break-even ACOS amount for the same book depending on the different marketplaces. It all depends on the list prices and the royalties that you have for each marketplace. So it is a good idea to duplicate these tabs at the bottom. As you can see, I have renamed each tab for the different marketplaces that I wish to advertise on. For example, in the USA tab, you will put the list price and royalty in the calculator, find the break-even Acos, and add it to the list on the right. That way, when you come to advertise a book on the US marketplace, you can easily jump into the USA tab, find the book that you want to advertise, and then find the break-even Acos. Another top tip is to put the break-even Acos in the advertising campaign name. For example, let's say that you have a robot coloring book and want to run a manual keyword campaign. You may want to write your campaign name like this. Robot coloring key 23.4%. Okay, something like that. The word key is to differentiate what type of manual campaign it is. So for this example, our manual campaign is targeting keywords, and that's why I've put that. If it was a manual campaign that was targeting products, you might put the word pro in there. By adding the break-even Acos to the campaign name, this allows us to easily see what kind of Acos we should be achieving for each individual campaign. This becomes more important as you progress, because more than likely you will have a mixture of coloring books with less pages, hardcover books, colored interior books, books with hundreds of pages, or just standard logbooks or planners. These different types of books will be priced differently, but more importantly, they will incur different printing costs, which will change your break-even Acos. Also, when we come to optimize our ads each week, we can easily see if we are above or below our break-even Acos for each campaign. Then we will know if we should reduce or increase our ad spend. Adding the Acos to the campaign name is far easier than having to come back to this spreadsheet each time and trying to locate your information. If you've been following me for a while, you will know that I'm big on organization. And if you are organized, you will save yourself so much time, hassle, and money. And that is it for this lesson. Oh yeah, and with this spreadsheet, please only write in the yellow boxes. If you touch any of the blue boxes, you may mess up the formulas. I hope that you can now see how important knowing your exact break-even Acos is, and can hopefully save yourself a lot of wasted money in the future.